Pyro arrived on the preview channel and has now gone. Hopefully we'll see it again soon, but there were some interesting performance issues to be seen on my main system and on my minimum spec system. So let's look at what was going on. We're going to be looking at client-side performance and some server-side stuff, the AI, because in theory, the AI logic from Squadron 42 had been ported across to the Pyro demo, and we'll see as we get into that. But first, let's talk about client-side performance. Overall, Pyro was pretty heavy on the GPU, especially down at the planets, but there were points where it was pretty CPU heavy as well. On the planets, it seems as though the outposts themselves are just very intensive for the GPU, and as you fly away from them and everything kind of pops out of existence, performance does improve dramatically. Now, it could be that it's the dust effects causing the issue, maybe some of the VFX on the ground, but at 4K, my 4080 was struggling at points. Dropping down to 1440p meant that I was CPU bottlenecked and performance was a lot more acceptable, but still, performance probably wasn't as high as you expect just on a planet. And when I took my minimum spec PC in with the i5-10400, 16GB of RAM and a 1660, again, down in the outposts, performance is pretty rough. Both the CPU and GPU are being hit pretty hard. You can see in this example how performance changes as you look up from the settlement into the sky. Obviously, there's nothing going on in the sky to render or anything, but it does really seem as though the buildings and maybe the VFX again really need some optimization, which I'm sure CIG will plan to do. I even tried dropping the resolution down to 720p and it did help the 1660, but performance still wasn't great. And 720p is pretty tough to use in my opinion. I managed to come up with a quick repeatable run in Checkmate Station. As you can see, my main system is pretty CPU bound at 1080p and 1440p, and at 4K you lose a few frames as you become GPU bottlenecked. The minimum spec system though is struggling. That result is CPU bound, and although you can get around at 25 FPS, normally the CPU, the 10400, can cope better than that on stations. So, do we all need to panic and go out and buy 4090's to prepare for Pyro? Well, no, I wouldn't worry too much about performance at this stage. This is a demo. This was a demo for CitizenCon that they then gave us on the preview channel. So it is not necessarily going to reflect what performance is going to be like when this actually comes to us in live. I would imagine CIG are going to want to optimize this a lot before it gets into our hands. A recent example of how this can work is the Lawville rework. Now, Lawville got a lot worse in terms of performance when they first put the new stuff, the new buildings into the PCU, but they did gradually improve performance. It's not as good as it once was, but it's now a lot more playable than it first was. At the start, when it first came into the PTU, it was lots of people with good hardware were struggling to get above 25 FPS. So CIG do this sort of thing. They get things in our hands to test and then they improve performance. So I would not worry too much about Pyro's performance at this stage. It will be interesting to see whether they add the other planets, whether they give us another look at this by the end of the year, whether they can open this up to more players, because very few people actually got into this by the looks of things. But one of the things that might hold them back is the second topic, the server performance and the AI stuff that frankly wasn't that different from what we get in Stanton. So Pyro does include the FPS AI changes from a Squadron 42 that CIG have been working on, and on some occasions the AI performed pretty well, and in some areas and some places not so much. On day one, I took a mission with some friends to clear out some NPCs from a maintenance area, and they were just stuck in the spawn closet. It wasn't great. It was basically the same experience that you get in Stanton. I did then read that the spawn closets kind of were part of the problem, so I checked out the mission where you clear a hangar on the station, and this wasn't a busy server, but I went in probably more casually than I should have done. I decided to throw some grenades just to see if they would react, and in fairness, they don't react particularly quickly. They kind of just stand there as the first grenade goes off, and then, oh, there is some gunfire now. But what is interesting is that it was better than what we get in the normal game. So back in Stanton, I don't think the AI would have done some of the things that you're about to see. So I look around for some AI. They, in theory, should all be reacting. Everybody in the hangar should be reacting. And look how that one there is firing at my last position. So they're firing where they think I am. But then as soon as I shoot them, they start shooting towards me. So that was a pretty quick reaction. Same one with this one. He's looking where I was. Doesn't get it. Now, again, watch here. They're looking for where I was. But now they know that I'm there. They move. They're shooting. Same again. He reacts pretty quickly and starts to actually shoot towards my position. He's strafing around. He's pushing. So we're seeing some of the behaviours actually working. This one again, they're moving towards me. This one again has come and pushed right up on me. We're seeing the combinations of behaviors that CIG have been working on. And I've run out of bullets because I came here not expecting to have to do really anything. But as you're going to see, it doesn't really end that well for me. So there is one behind me here that seems to be ignoring the fact that there's a massive firefight going on in this hangar. But they are coming towards it. Now, I don't know why this headshot didn't kill that one, but for some reason it didn't. But they are shooting me. Now, there's a nice bug here where I can't really see what's going on. This one that we're running towards has just been chilling out, hiding. Maybe that's his, maybe he was supposed to be a coward, but he goes. But then the other guys are still following me. They're still pushing on my position. They're shooting me. A bug goes. My cloak is in my view, which isn't great. And then eventually they take me down. And also, down on the settlements, as you'll see here, the NPCs do respond if you attack them.
I think I have to issue council this, because this is getting annoying.
Oh, Goldie, what are you doing? You're attacking the natives. They're going to shoot us. He's going to shoot us.
There are people running over to you.
Actually?
They are. This guy, he's coming for you, Goldie. You've committed a felony there. You've murdered this guy.
If he's actually, then I'm gonna... Oh.
Oh, Goldie.
Okay, so new plan, £10. I'm gonna quit because I need to go.
But it's not all good news. I went to do a cave mission, and although this looks nice and pretty, there was an issue where one of the ledges I couldn't actually mantle up, so I got completely stuck here. But the AI was pretty non-responsive here. Again, imagine a shot ringing out between a cave, all these caves. You would have heard it. None of the NPCs are doing anything. They're just standing there. So it is a mixed bag, and again, I think it probably depends on the servers themselves. If they're really under real pressure, it's probably the same as what we experienced in Stanton. I also got hit with a lot of 30Ks. The first day was fine, but when I went back in to check it out with the minimum spec system a couple of days later, I found it pretty hard to get anywhere in the system without a 30K. Now, all of this could be quite a concerning sign for the first version of static server meshing. I think a lot of people are hoping that static server meshing will solve the unresponsive AI and poor overall server FPS, but in theory, the first version of static server meshing will just connect a standard server to a Pyro server via a jump gate. Both of those servers will still have to manage an entire star system each. So I can't really see how server performance will improve at that stage. I think we can only really expect to see better server performance when each server is responsible for a smaller area, like a planet and its moons. It's possible that the replication layer itself will somehow lighten the load on the game servers, but we'll have to wait and see. So overall, client-side performance it's not great in Pyro, but I don't think we should worry at this stage. And server-side stuff, again, it's not brilliant, but there are signs that the actual AI itself is getting better, but I think we're still quite a way off until we've got some really responsive AI and the servers are really running smoothly. It's probably going to take a few versions of server meshing to actually get us to the point where things work as you might expect in a real game.